When I fall in love, I fall deep.
Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here again with another Venus sign video, and today we're doing the Venus in Taurus. So before you watch this video, make sure to check out my Venus introduction video, links up above and in the description box below, so you can kind of get an idea about what Venus is doing in your chart and then come back and watch this video. So if you have a Venus in Taurus, you could either have your sun in Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Gemini, or Cancer. You can't have your sun in any other of the zodiac signs to have a Venus in Taurus because Venus doesn't move more than 2 signs away from the sun. Okay, and this video will be divided into 4 parts. First, the clothing style and the mannerisms of the Venus in Taurus, and then their seduction style, and then what they're attracted to, and then their relationship and love style. If you're watching this and you are a straight woman, the parts that will apply to you will be the clothing styles and mannerisms, the seduction style, and the relationship style. If you're watching this and you are a gay woman, all 4 parts of the video will apply to you. If you are a straight man, what will apply to you will be the relationship style and then what you're attracted to. And if you are a gay man, the parts that apply to you will be your relationship style and partially your seduction style. So let's get started. With the clothing style and the mannerisms of the Venus in Taurus, this first part can also apply to you if you have a rising in Taurus, but only the first part. So these people have either 2 things going on. So one, they're either kind of identifying with a particular style and they dress according to that and they stick with that. So let's say they identify with like a vintage, they'll dress vintage. If they kind of identify with like vintage folk, they'll dress like vintage folk. If they identify with something more hip-hop modern, they'll dress according to that. If they identify with punk or old school, you get the idea, right? Or the second thing is that they tend to dress, they can have like a statement item that they like to wear, and they would use that statement item. Let's say it's like a boot, a pair of boots. Then they would kind of use that as like their thing, and they would kind of wear other items in accordance with that statement item, which is their boot. So I feel like these people tend to dress well, and they kind of dress to make sense. You know, like Jessica Alba here, she's got a Taurus sun and a Venus in Taurus. They can kind of be more like low profile, and they don't want to attract too much attention for themselves, and they prefer something that's more natural in the way that they dress. They prefer to just be sophisticated but feel comfortable and good in what they wear rather than be like standing out in a crowd. And yes, like it has to make sense. Their clothes has to make sense. If the pants are just not fitting with the shirt, then it doesn't make sense and they probably wouldn't wear it. Yes, so there's like a balance between inner beauty and outer beauty. That's why they prefer to just be more natural, because Taurus is all about value. So they kind of believe that they're innately beautiful anyways. There's no need to like do so much on the outside. And so at the end of the day, they're kind of balancing like a bit of sophistication, classiness with something more comfortable and sweet. Now when it comes to the seduction style of the Venus in Taurus, so Venus is already ruled by Taurus. If you think back to the story of Venus that I mentioned in my Venus introduction video, you're very much like that. As in like you need sensuality just as much as Venus did. You kind of need relationships like Venus did. But the thing with this Venus placement is that she does not do a lot. Like because Venus is more passive, Venus attracts. So the Venus in Taurus is kind of an attraction magnet already within herself. you tend to kind of radiate kindness and love and sensuality and calm and all things Venusian. Therefore, you're going to be attracting people to you naturally without having to really put in much effort. You with the Venus in Taurus can't help but be sensual. It's just like in your nature. Like when you move, you like to touch your hair in a very sensual way, or maybe you move your lips in a very sensual way, or like when you're eating something, you just really enjoy the food that you're eating, and it comes across as being a little bit sensual and sexy. Even just like you can be sitting in a room and you can be looking at someone who's got like a Venus in Taurus, and all they're doing is shuffling in their chair, moving around their chair, and it already appears to be very attractive and sensual. And their voice. They can have something about the voice that is, again, very sensual, very soothing, very calm. You get the idea. So yes, you can seduce people, of course, with those outer physical things, but there's also the inner beauty that you would like to use when you're seducing someone. So you're gonna be very kind. You know, these people are very kind people. You're gonna be very helpful. You'll kind of like notice little things about people, like their birthdays, when they've just told you their birthdays once, and then you'll kind of want to give them a gift or at least tell them happy birthday, things like that. You're reliable. You're a really good friend and you're very reliable, and that is how you go about seducing. You seduce by letting people know that you are going to be there for them, that you didn't forget that thing that you said you were going to do 5 months ago. You're still going to do it for them, that they can call you up anytime and you're going to come up and you're going to come to them and you're going to be there for them. So that's how you seduce. If you have a Venus in Taurus, you could be attracted by those celebrities that I showed you earlier in the video, those kinds of clothing styles and mannerisms. You kind of also be attracted to someone who is more like naturally beautiful, like physically, rather than someone who has a bunch of makeup on or who overdresses, like the Venus in Aries. But yeah, like the natural beauty, the simplicity of beauty is what you're more into. Yes, you really like someone who appears very sensual. You like someone who almost seems like an earth goddess, because that's what the Venus in Taurus is. She is an earth goddess. Like, you can maybe really like someone who sits out in nature in the grass and just enjoys and kind of fits in very well with nature almost. Maybe she's like eating grapes and something like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, just really enjoying life. You kind of like someone who's more low-key, feminine, you know, she doesn't do something embarrassing in public or anything like that, and she's not too assertive or too aggressive. Yeah, you like someone who's very good natured, and even if she seems a little bit innocent and authentic, you like that. But most importantly, you love someone who values themselves, who loves themselves, who is independent, and who is self-sufficient. Because that's what Taurus is. Taurus is self-sufficient. She doesn't really need you. She doesn't really want anything from you. She's comfortable with herself, and you find that very attractive. Also, if she's a bit more artistic, because, you know, Venus does rule Taurus, and so Taurus is a very artistic sign, so someone who is maybe artistic in a sense, creative or musical, you like that. So when it comes to the relationship style or the love style of the Venus in Taurus, like I mentioned earlier, like you can easily attract people to you, but at the same time, you can be really easily attracted to people based on your 5 senses. So if they look good, if they present themselves nice, if they smell nice, you know, if they sound nice, that's like gonna make you fall in love. You know, I feel like that's something that kind of happens in the earlier stages of the Venus in Taurus's life, because it's a lesson that we're trying to learn here, right, with Venus. So you can kind of be attracted to that kind of person, and it can be kind of almost seem like a more, shall I say, shallow view of love. But that's what Venus is. Venus is not a highly deep planet in nature, but the nature of love has to be like more emotionally deep, right? If we think about the opposite side of Taurus, which is Scorpio, right? So for the Venus and Taurus to learn their lesson, they have to splatter a bit of Scorpio in there, and a lot of times they go through kind of scorpionic, plutonic relationships in their lives. So, you know, things like somebody controlling them, manipulating them, abuse and things like that, so that they can really learn the depth of love and how to manage that. So what can happen is they can be drawing these kinds of strange relationships to them because the initial motivation was based on sensuality, but because Taurus is a fixed earth sign, you stick with that relationship way past their due date. You can be with someone for 5 years when you should have ended it in the first year of the relationship because you feel like you can make it work, because that's what Taurus is. Taurus doesn't give up. Taurus is determined. And Taurus believes in a committed partnership. So you're gonna try to make the relationship work. But eventually, after the lesson is learned, the Venus in Taurus will turn to understand the meaning of self-love and values. And when you do that, and when you look back at that partner, you're gonna spend some time thinking about whether you should still stay with them or not. And most of the time, you realize through self-love, through valuing yourself, through knowing what your true values really are, that the person that you got into a relationship with based on sensuality is not really gonna be long-lasting. So the Venus in Taurus can kind of break it off when that happens. And when you as a Venus in Taurus break it off with someone, you're done. There's nothing you can do, there's nothing anyone can do to change your mind, because most likely you've really thought it through. Venus in Taurus is not like one day realizing that the relationship doesn't work and they just break it off right away. No, they realize the relationship doesn't work, but they still think about it for the next month or so. So after a month or a year later, when they realize that the relationship really isn't working, they break it off. And that's why you can never really mend a relationship with a Venus in Taurus if they break it off with you, because they've thought it through. Really, really thought it through. So when they really get in touch with their self-worth and what their deeper values are, what their deeper needs are in a loving relationship, then you can find a relationship that is worth your time, is worth your true love. And even though you might be with someone who you feel like is really the one for you, you will still take your time, because you believe that, and this is the more mature side of Venus. The more mature side of Venus really understands that love takes time, right? Love and infatuation are different, and you know the difference. So you study someone over time. You build a rock solid foundation with someone before proceeding to the next level, and things kind of occur in stages with you. So you with a Venus in Taurus will make sure that there is a strong foundation within the relationship, built on real deep intimacy and real love. And if you're in a relationship with a Venus in Taurus and you kind of try to rush them when they're trying to build that rock solid foundation, they will either do two things. They will either say no, 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 and you can't change their mind. Or they might say yes, yes, all right, we can do it your pace or whatever, and then they'll kind of resent it later. A really mature Venus in Taurus will be a really great lover. They'll be kind of one of the best lovers that you can have out there, because they have both the kind of physical, sensual side and the deep, intimate, loving nature about them, and they can combine these two things in a way that works. And you with a Venus in Taurus, you are rock solid as well in your relationships, meaning that your partners can really come to you and you can be a shoulder for them to cry on. You can be someone that they can really rely on for anything. Your loyalty and the trust that you build within a relationship is like a rock. Like you can't break it if you've got that going on with the Venus in Taurus. And what I really love about this Venus sign is that you really know how to pace yourself in a relationship. Like you build things over time. You know how to water that plant, which is the seed of real relationship, real commitment. You water it every day until it grows and grows and grows. And because of that, because things happen with you over a long period of time, they are so rock solid. But at the same time, the Venus in Taurus also likes to have a bit of fun with you. They like to get things going in the bedroom. They have that sensual side to them as well. And there's this great balance going on. So that's my take on the Venus in Taurus. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below. If you have this Venus placement, please comment below what your experiences have been. If you've already subscribed, then thank you very much for coming along with us on these astrology growth journeys, learning and growing together, and having better relationships with the people around us. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye!